From Philippians 2. I've just written down what I want to share, but I just pray that I would depend on the Holy Spirit to become like Jesus. And I know it's a mountain peak, but I believe that the Lord will help me to humble myself and to keep repenting of all the pride I see in me, and to keep getting back up. And I was thinking that how you can see your best and your worst when you interact with your near and dear ones. And I remember this week that I felt like there was just like this unchrist-like attitude, all this ugliness that was building up in me. But I believe that the Lord gave me that desire to just ask for forgiveness and to apologize. And it made such a big difference. And it was not as difficult as I thought it would be. And and also regardless of what your dear ones expect from you, sometimes they don't want a sorry or a thank you because they love you. But I want to see the Lord's face, and I want to please Him in my attitude that I have, and I just don't want to stay there and not be in a rut of just constantly repenting and asking for forgiveness, but to also humble myself and ask the Lord to keep me from falling. And even as I seek to do that, I believe the Lord will lift me over sin, the world, and the devil. And I was thinking of this verse in Philippians chapter 2, verse 9, where it says, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. And I can think of all the wonderful people the Lord has placed in my life, and those who are not in the Lord yet. I pray that they will see Christ lifted up in my life and the way I behave and in my attitude, and that I would constantly seek to humble myself and to be saved from all the pride that the Lord shows in me. And I pray that the Lord will help me to press on, to never give up, and to hold on to that condition and promise in verse 12 and 13 of Philippians 2, where it says, you work out your salvation with fear and trembling. And I want to underline that word for me, that Divya, you just work out your salvation with fear and trembling, because God is at work in you both to will and to do His good pleasure. So I believe that the Lord will help me. Amen.
I also wanted to speak from the Philippians passage in verse 12, the part that says, as you have always obeyed, so now, not only as in my presence, but much more in my absence. It made me think back to my freshman year. I joined the gymnastics team, and I had like a spiritual mentor on the gymnastics team. And eventually he had confronted me in one of my sins. And so after a while, we like talked about it for several weeks, and I finally was like, all right, I'm going to give this up. And I did. And then the end of the school year came, and he went home, and I stayed on campus, and I totally reverted back. And so as soon as he left, I wasn't obeying anymore. And he came back the next school year and was like, dude, what happened? I thought we made all this progress. And what it showed me in my heart was that it's good to have people who are spiritual mentors to us and kind of watch over us, but when they leave, is our true commitment to the Lord. And there are other verses that are like similar to this. We don't have to flip there, but if you want to look them up later, one is in Acts 20:32. Paul talks about how he was with the church for 3 years preaching over them, and then he says after I leave, like, now I commend you to God. So he kind of commends them to God when he leaves. And then the same thing in John 17:11 and 12. Jesus is like, while I was in the world, I kept you guys and I guarded you guys. But now that I'm leaving, Father, you keep them. And this is also something that I've had to learn as I go home. The past 2 summers, I've gone home and I've left this church. And it's had to be one of those things, okay, now that I'm, somewhat on my own, is my true commitment to God, now that like the church is gone and my leaders are gone. I mean, they're still reaching out to me and stuff, but, I want my true commitment to be to the Lord. And I thought of the song, I've decided to follow Jesus. There's a line in there that says, though none go with me, still I will follow. And so I've thought about that a lot. And kind of now, so freshman year it was with the sin that I was giving up. And now I think about it more in the context of like our 6 a.m. prayer meetings. So it's like, okay, I have this once a month, and it's really nice. But when I go home, I no longer have that 6 a.m. prayer meeting. Like, am I going to wake up early and spend time with God in prayer now that I have no accountability? If it's hard for you to do that without other people, you really have to ask yourself, am I commended to the Lord? Like, is the Lord the one that's keeping me and not other people? So I've asked myself that question. It's really helped me. So yeah.
I would like to share from Philippians 2 as well. I was blessed by verse 3 primarily, and verse 4. And the phrase where it says, verse 3, do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, regard one another as more important than yourself. I was looking at this, that it is only God who sees my thoughts. Actions, many people can see it, but God looks at the motives, and God looks at the attitude, how I do it. And I was seeing that, Lord, what does it mean by more important? I come across everybody, especially from family and church family and my own family and others. And I think God blessed me with one picture. So the first time I remember when I came to the church, it was very easy to think very low of myself because I was so engripped with the forgiveness of God. So it was so fresh in my mind that how much God forgave me. It was so real, and I was ready to do anything. So there was, if there was a task about toilet, or if there was a task about helping with chairs or putting something in the trunk, I was ready for anything. I have seen in myself that naturally coming attitude has been declining, and then now I have to struggle. I have to make up myself I have to do this. So I was thinking, why is that? And as I was reminding myself, the only reason is because the freshness of forgiveness of God is not there. It has to be so fresh. I have to always constantly go to God and see that picture, saying, Lord, how much you forgave me. And when I have that, it is very easy to see others as more important. Seem more important than me, right? So I'm not talking about what I've learned from this is thinking myself as low and discouraged. And no, Jesus was the perfect example. He rebuked people. He was angry for the right reasons. He was a perfect example, but at the same time he considered, I believe I can honestly say now that he considered me more important than himself. And that's why he left all the 99 sheep and he was able to come for me and search me. So it's the attitude that I think I see here that Paul is talking about, that only God can see. Maybe not everybody can see, but God is really thinking about what am I thinking about myself? Not only just what I do, but why I do it. So I really want to, I was asking God, please bring that freshness of how much you forgave me. Bring that the first time when you brought me out from the pit. I want to have a glimpse of that again, so that this becomes an easy walk. It shouldn't be a struggle. It should be an easy walk day by day, where it should become more easier for me to think others as more important than myself. Okay, thank you.